The Forgotten Ones. Chapter 6. Reflections of the Void. The room was silent. The kind of silence that seemed to press down on every inch of Ellis's skin, squeezing the air from his lungs. His eyes fluttered open, and for a moment he wasn't sure if he had ever closed them. The Watcher, the suffocating darkness, the strange, hollow voice, all of it felt like a fading nightmare. Except it wasn't a nightmare. It was real. The room stretched out around him, vast and infinite, its walls bending impossibly in the distance. There was no door, no hallway, no way out. He was no longer in the decrepit building he had entered. The space was eerily pristine, sterile almost like a place cut outside of time. The walls gleamed with a mirrored sheen, reflecting distorted, hazy images of himself. Ellis pushed himself to his feet, his head swimming. Everything felt off. His body, his thoughts, the very air around him. As he stumbled forward, his reflection followed, but not perfectly. There was a lag, a split-second delay, like the reflection was watching him, mimicking him. But not him. Where am I? His voice echoed unnaturally, bouncing off the mirrored surfaces, growing louder as it rippled outward. His reflection seemed to smile, a sharp, cold grin that didn't belong on his own face. Panic surged through him. He backed away, heart pounding in his chest, his pulse drumming in his ears. But no matter where he turned, his reflection was there, in every surface, staring back at him with that mocking, twisted smile. He turned in circles, desperate for a way out. There had to be an exit, some crack in this impossibly smooth world. But everywhere he looked, the walls reflected the same image. Him, standing alone in an endless, gleaming void. This isn't real. It can't be real. Ellis's mind raced, trying to grasp at any shred of logic. The Watcher had taken him, swallowed him into this mirrored nightmare. But why? What was this place? He moved cautiously, pressing his hand against the nearest mirrored surface. It was cool to the touch, unnervingly smooth, as if the glass extended into forever. His reflection mimicked his every move, except for the eyes. The reflection's eyes never moved, always fixed on him, unblinking, calculating. Ellis stumbled back, breathing hard. He had to think. He had to find a way to get out, to escape this place, before the Watcher took what little was left of him. Then a sound, a faint, distant whisper. He spun around, scanning the room, searching for its source. The whisper was barely audible, but it was there, growing louder with each passing second. It wasn't a voice he recognized. It was many voices layered over one another, merging into a singular, eerie chant. He turned again and saw it. The reflection. It wasn't just mimicking him anymore. It was moving independently. Ellis froze, his heart in his throat. His reflection slowly raised a hand, fingers twisting unnaturally, the smile widening, stretching grotesquely across its face. Its eyes, cold and hollow, locked onto his, as if it had been waiting for this moment. The whispers grew louder, filling the room, crawling inside his skull, suffocating him with their presence. You never left. The reflection's mouth moved in sync with the whispers, its voice dripping with malice. Ellis stepped back, but the reflection stepped forward, closing the gap between them. "Get away from me," Ellis whispered, his voice trembling. The reflection tilted its head, that cruel smile still plastered on its face. Then it began to press forward through the surface of the mirror, its fingers stretching outward, breaking the barrier between them. The glass didn't shatter, It rippled like water, allowing the reflection to pass through without resistance. Ellis stumbled backward, his feet tangling beneath him. The reflection stepped out of the mirror completely, now towering over him, its body flickering and glitching like something not entirely bound to this world. It wasn't just his reflection anymore. Its features were shifting, warping into grotesque parodies of faces he had never seen before. Faces of the lost, the taken. Peter! Ellis gasped. The reflection's face morphed into his friend's, warped and distorted, but unmistakable. Peter's eyes were empty, his skin pale, as though he had been drained of everything that had made him human. You thought you could escape. The reflection rasped, its voice a cacophony of echoes. You followed the same path. You're no different. Ellis's chest tightened with dread. The reflection's fingers, sharp and elongated, reached for him, brushing against his skin. Cold. Unbearably cold. He jerked away, but there was nowhere to go. The reflections around him had multiplied, filling every surface, every corner, all watching him with that same cruel smile. The Watcher's words echoed in his mind. You were never alone. The reflection's hand clamped down on his wrist, and Ellis felt the world spin. He was pulled, dragged toward the mirror, his body growing heavier with every passing second, as if the reflection was draining him piece by piece. The whispers clawed at his mind, pulling him into the void of their endless chant. In one last, desperate act, Ellis ripped his arm free and scrambled away, his heart racing, his breath coming in ragged gasps. But the reflection didn't pursue. It stood there watching him, the twisted grin widening into something inhuman. You will return. With those words, the reflection stepped back into the mirror, disappearing into the depths of the glass. The other reflections followed, fading back into the surfaces of the room, leaving Ellis alone once more. But he wasn't alone. Not really. The Watcher's presence lingered, a constant, suffocating weight pressing down on him from every angle. The reflections, though still now, would always be there, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for him to slip. And when he did, they would take him. Ellis knew the truth now. There was no escape from the Watcher's grasp. No matter where he went, the reflection would always be waiting, just on the other side of the glass. If you enjoyed this chilling chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay tuned for more dark and mysterious stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. And let us know in the comments what eerie reflection awaits you on the other side of the glass. The stories may end, but the nightmares continue. Sleep soundly, if your mind lets you.